So now that I've played through all of Stormblood, you know, at least the main story, main story, I think one of the reasons that people sleep on Lyse a little bit is that they just don't realize what her character is supposed to be, or like what story it's supposed to tell. And I think the main reason I personally enjoy her character arc is not necessarily because she's a very strong character and she gets a lot of screen time, like you guys were saying, and like, you know, they could have done maybe a lot more. But I think one of the main aspects that she brings with is something that's very relatable, I think, to all of us, and that's sort of taking blame for things out of your control. And by that I mean, like, whenever her father and her sister, her older sister, died in the war and, you know, fought for freedom and actually didn't prevail and suffered, you know, their life for it. She was too young to do anything, but yet she blames herself, right? And I think that's something that we can all relate to. Like, sometimes you blame yourself for events or things, you know, pan out in a certain way. That is really realistically not your fault and out of your control, but you still feel responsible and, you know, take blame for them. And once I realized that that's kind of what her struggle is, her internal struggle is, and why she hid behind the mask for a really long time, and then suddenly she's like, okay, I gotta actually step into the, you know, footsteps of my father and sister, and what they did not do, I have to rise to the occasion and actually do. All the while, she still stays this sort of, you know, not very almighty character that's instantly like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do that and trample over whoever is in our way, right? It's a struggle. And they, in this expansion, I think, really show the ugly side of war and civil war and the struggle and the death and all the sadness and the post-traumatic war, like the syndrome, and like the civilians, you know, how they're left behind in that one village near the heart of Doma. When you first get there, they're just frightened. They're afraid to even join the resistance or speak to resistance members, and they actually are spiteful against them because that's, you know, they blame others for the fact that their sons, friends, family members all left the village to fight and actually die and perish, right? And that's why I think a lot of people sleep on Lyse, because they don't really think about that. And I guess that's why a lot of people are like, she's not as likable. And I get it, you know, I'm not saying they're all wrong and I'm right kind of thing. But that's why I enjoyed Lyse and her arc so much. And yeah, that's a good interpretation as well, that she's kind of bound by those chains and sort of feels the duty calling, you know, trying to do what her father and sister could not, basically, and trying to avenge them for, you know, not only for herself but for her countrymen. And, you know, that's, I think, a beautiful message, a beautiful thing. And that's why I enjoyed Stormblood quite a lot, even though it was a slower pacing and it was building at two fronts, like the Alamigan resistance, as well as in Doma and in Kugane and all the other side of the world, basically. True. I mean, she rises to the occasion, and, you know, the old man who actually makes her the leader of the resistance sees that in her, right? That she's the one who's supposed to lead her people. And I guess in that way, her and he are similar. That he also doesn't really necessarily want to be king anymore. He wants to be free, I guess, and do good. But then also realizes that he has to rise to the occasion. Yeah, Conrad. That's the one I meant. Exactly. My interpretation of the character is, in my eyes, the opposite of Hein's character. Hein is free, not bound by chains, responsibility. Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, Conrad is just a name that just slips my mind, that's all. Yeah, again, that is sort of why I enjoyed Lyse. And I guess why a lot of people are like, I don't really care for Lyse that much. And that's okay too, you know. You don't always have to identify with every character. I didn't really have a lot with Papalimo going on, honestly. I thought they were just the fun side scions, you know, him and back then still Ida, which then appeared to be Lyse. And I mean, in the end, he made a noble sacrifice, but I did not really identify with him very strongly, Papalimo, as a character. But yeah. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure that you leave a like. And if you want to see more of my content, make sure you hit the sub button down below, because I would like to hit this bar below me by February, which is my 1 year anniversary coming up. I would really like you to help me meet that goal. Thank you.